What up, it's your boy, Incredible Man. Yes, I am back at it again, and this is Gleipnir episode 8. Man, stuff went down. We have jealousy dealing with Claire. We have Shuichi kind of having like a flashback, and we kind of see that he has like major memory loss. We see different sides of Elena, and she's shedding tears, and so much other stuff. A lot of information too. Let's get into this episode, man.
Just take it, don't wait for someone to break it. Take control, then don't just take it, hey. You can make it happen, you just gotta take some action. Take the ship and be the captain.
Man, oh man, every week I find myself falling more in love with this anime because it is absolutely wonderful. And I love how they always take and just up it up a notch. Not a lot, but just a little notch, just to kind of keep you going and wondering about everything, even when you kind of figure out tidbits, but you don't never really see the whole picture or the whole story. Because this episode, we pick up right after in last week's episode, and we see that the redhead girl and Shuichi came in contact with Claire and the other dude. They found them safe, but kind of out of it a little bit. They were a little out of sorts because Shuichi doesn't remember anything. The redhead girl claims she doesn't, but we find out later in the episode that she actually remembers everything. But that's not even the fun part about this episode. That's one of the fun parts, but it's not the main fun part. We get a flashback. And if you guys know anything about my channels, man, you guys know I love a good flashback in an anime. And we got a flashback of little Shuichi, and we see him, what do we see? Oh, we see him at a cram school, and he is kind of talking it up with the lady that teaches the cram school. And then we hear a bunch of kids outside the door. And the lady was like, well, don't you want to, let me introduce you to everybody. But Shuichi doesn't remember the memory. He doesn't remember that. He remembers tidbits of it, but it doesn't really resonate with him. And then later on in the episode, we see that it comes back into play with one of the characters that's introduced into this little group. Now that information was totally different, but it was so good as well. So we get back to the base and we see Claire, Shuichi, a redhead girl, and the guy. I'll learn their names. Give me a couple episodes and I'll learn everybody's name. But we see them and they're discussing about what happened. They're trying to find out what happened from Shuichi and the redhead girl. And they tell them that we don't remember anything. Claire, I guess from the jump, you can look at it as Claire didn't fully believe the redhead girl. Or you can look at it as it was straight jealousy from the beginning. I'm looking at it as it was jealousy from the beginning because she was inside of Shuichi and she was naked. Now with that, Claire only got inside of Shuichi in her underwear in a bathing suit. She's never been fully nude, and maybe that's what's bothering her, that this girl was the first one to invade Shuichi. I don't know. But I really love that aspect and I love that dynamic. But the only thing, I didn't like this side of Claire this episode. We all know that Claire was, you know, she was a little pompous, a little egotistical, but those were the good traits that we loved about Claire. In this episode, we see her more vulnerable, a little bit more realistic, I guess you can say. And don't get me wrong, that's great for character development, and I really love that. But I didn't like seeing that on her because that's not the Claire that we've come to know and love. But I guess you can, I mean, I kind of did and I kind of didn't because it's great character development. But Claire didn't trust old girl from the beginning. But this episode, we got introduced to a lot of the characters that's in this little band of renegades. We see Shuichi getting the little hair type, braided thing, and becoming a full-fledged member. And everybody pretty much introduces their powers this episode. Not everybody, but pretty much everybody. We know the leader's powers. We know the dude with the telescope had 4 power. And we don't know the pretty boy's powers. We know he's a fighter of the group, but we don't know how strong he is or what his powers is. We get introduced to the beast guy, and he transforms, and he's a little kid that seems to know Shuichi from when he went to cram school. Like, he was on the outside looking in, and he was like, you had so much fun with all your friends, but I was too nervous to really take part and be a part of that. And Shuichi was like, no, I didn't have any friends. I went to cram school by myself. And the dude was like, huh? And he was like, well, maybe I'm mistaken. And you're not. So that's what I was talking about at the beginning. Shuichi doesn't remember a lot of his memories that he had. And then, like I said in my previous reviews, that happens to come into play with Elena. And we see that later in the episode as well. Now, then we get introduced to the other chick that's wrapped up with the blanket. And it happens to be the chick from the convenience store. And like they made a whole joke of it. Like, you know, she was like, welcome. Do you want me to heat that up for you? So it was nice to bring that back into play because I really loved the convenience store chick, and I felt like I loved like getting introduced to her and finding out more about her. I really love her. I know seeing her those 1 or 2 times she was just like so bland. But now knowing that her power is invisibility and, you know, her going through the motion, welcome. I really love her, and I can't wait to find out more about the convenience store girl. So we got introduced to the whole Renegade, and everybody showed their powers, and then Shuichi and Claire showed theirs fully. And at that point, we see the dude in the green with the green tracksuit. He's looking at Shuichi and the attack marks that they left in the tree. Kind of funny, like he doesn't really trust them fully. And then later we jump cut later into the episode, and we see that he's stalking Shuichi, and he's jealous of Shuichi for one particular reason. I thought it was going to be like, well, he wanted to know why did they kill this dude, or he wanted to know about the skull guy. No, that wasn't none of that. He didn't care about none of that. He wanted to know because Shuichi has all these girls around him. Let's be real. Shuichi pulled Elena. He's pulling Claire. He's pulled the redhead girl. Shuichi is the man. He's got all these girls, and now I know it's not that kind of anime, but I would love to see Shuichi with a harem. I'm just being real. But that's what he was. That's what he was jealous about. And he went to talk to Shuichi, and Shuichi told him that, you know, hey, it's just me and Claire. He didn't give up the skull dude because, you know, that wasn't a part of their deal. And he was like, it's just me and Claire. The dude was still like, I still don't trust you. But he was like, you can't betray us because you got the beaded necklace on. So you can't betray us. But he was like, I still don't trust you guys. And I love how Shuichi played it off. Like, we just happened to come across the cut-up troll's body, and Claire took his phone and used it to our advantage. Nice thinking, Shuichi. And he was like, but you can't do anything. So he went in this whole rant and just tried to bash Shuichi. And Shuichi was like, well, I can't, but there are certain things that I can do. That's the man, man. Shuichi's the man. And we see him having an intimate moment with the other girl from his classroom. I'll skip right over the scene with him and Claire. Him and Claire has a nice little moment outside the convenience store where they're eating and everything. And her jealousy's on full display, and Shuichi's kind of guilt is kind of on full display about having the redhead girl inside him fully nude. And maybe, I don't know, I like that dynamic between them because it makes both of them very, very vulnerable, and we see a bunch of character development for each individual character. But I just don't like that side of Claire. That's just me. Maybe it's just me. I just don't like that side of Claire. But the rest of the episode, we see Shuichi bumping into another classmate that's possibly out here murdering animals. I don't know. I'm speculating, but I feel like if he's not doing it, he's a part of the group that is out here murdering these animals. And Shuichi's kind of a little weary of him now, but he's still a friend. So he's going to watch out and he thinks that he's involved in something tragic with these two older guys that he was hanging with outside the convenience store. So then we see that the redhead girl calls Elena. She calls Elena and tells Elena what we speculated the whole time, even Claire speculated it, that she remembers everything. She goes into this full detail, was like, yeah, I remember everything. We were just one, we were super connected. What was that? And she was like, well, Elena goes into this whole explanation and breaks it down. And that gave me an inkling as to maybe Elena done that with Shuichi, and that's why his memory is gone. With Elena talking to the redhead girl, we see a different side of Elena. She's crying. She's super worried about Shuichi, and she ends up telling this girl all of this information about Shuichi, and then the redhead girl tells her that she knows all about her and Shuichi from Shuichi's memories, that it's blacked out, that he doesn't remember particular things, but there was so much stuff. There was so much stuff in this episode. That's why I said it was wonderful, because the information was there, but the story and the plot of the anime was actually really, really great. We got a lot of character development for certain characters, and I really loved the transition from how it went from a nice informative everything, I guess you could say, and then like that moment where he came in contact with his friend from school. Like the whole back half of this episode was completely different. It just changed drastically. Then we also see Elaine talking to her core group members, and I'm thinking that Elaine doesn't really want to be with these guys. But like she told the redhead girl, what if somebody already has the 100 coins and they are on their way to take over the world? So I feel like Elena's teaming up with these guys to try to stop it, because now I feel like she's not a bad guy, and I don't think she killed her parents at all. Elena, I keep saying Elaine, but Elena has more to her story, and I need more information, because now everything that I thought I knew about her, I don't even trust it anymore. I don't. And we know that she cares for Shuichi like mad crazy, and she was even crying tears this episode. We haven't seen her show emotions at all, but this episode she was crying tears. Oh my gosh. Then we have the final piece of this episode where we see Claire kind of feeling some type of way about the coins. And the only thing I can say about that is I feel that Claire is eventually going to take one of the little black drinks and become some kind of type of, as she call it, monster, so she can form and be that one connection with Shuichi, because the redhead girl made that very known this episode that, you know, you and Shuichi aren't the same person. You can never become one with him. So far I'm assuming that Elena and the redhead girls are the only two that has become one with Shuichi. And then we see that Claire and Shuichi's gang with the girl and everybody else, they're on a hunt for the spaceship to find the rest of the coins. They're not looking for individuals anymore. They're trying to find a big haul, and they're gonna locate the spaceship itself. Man, this episode was legit. Like I said, it was very informative, and my review went way longer than I wanted it to, but because it was so much stuff to discuss. This is your boy Nick Incredible, man. Don't forget to smash that like button till you can't smash it anymore. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them. And subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. And remember that anime matters, anime is greatness, and anime is life, man. Peace out.
Are we gonna play now? Ready for the show? I'm about to take down, you already know. Get the fuck out of my face now, yeah, you gotta